family.
I'm Mary, the mom.
I'm Shiloh. I'm 19.
I'm Courtney. I'm 16.
And this is Mackenzie. She's 13. We really need your help.
Come inside and we'll show you why.
This is our living room. As you can see, it's somewhat spacious, which makes it the only room, however, that Mackenzie will easily fit into. This is where we spend most of our time as a family, since it is the only place that Mackenzie really fits well. If you look around, you'll see a few different couches. In the summertime, the girls spend their evenings sleeping out here because it is the coolest room in the house. The air conditioning is out of one of the windows in this room, so it really is the only room with ventilation so that they can all get some sleep. The floors, however, in this room are uneven, which makes moving Mackenzie's wheelchair around somewhat of a challenge. And the carpet's tore in a few different places, so we tend to catch things as far as her tires on her wheelchair as we're going around the room trying to accommodate where she needs to be. As you can see, the kitchen itself isn't very big, and in order to keep Mackenzie with us at all times, which is important because of her health concerns, we have to be able to put her in the rooms that we're in. In the kitchen, we don't have a whole lot of counter space, and so I'm really limited when it comes to preparing meals for our family, or even for Mackenzie, because she requires a special diet. So constantly I'm turning around, bumping into her as I'm trying to get things prepared. And as the sun moves around the room, she needs to move also because we can't have her in the sun for any extended period of time. We have tiles coming up in the floor of the kitchen, which I get caught on her wheelchair or just as a hazard with the girls and I. We do tend to trip occasionally, and that also prevents a hazard of possibly falling into Mackenzie. If it's more than just she and I in the kitchen, or one of the girls in the kitchen with her, then we tend to run into each other, and it does create some problems in the other direction. Our stove only has 2 burners that work. The heating in this room really isn't sufficient to be able to have her in here at all times, and it just, with the cracks in the ceilings, is not a room where we really want to spend a whole lot of our time. This is our storage room. It's kind of a catch-all for everything that we have. Because of the limited cupboard space I have in the kitchen, I have to keep a lot of my food items out here. Plus, since the house really has no closets, this is where we tend to store the items that you would normally find in a linen closet or a coat room or a coat closet in any other house. If you look up at the ceiling, we do have some water damage from rain that has come through when we've had rain periodically, and it's actually soaked down through the walls, and the ceiling has nice water spots, and we've attempted to stop that by replacing a few of the shingles on the roof, but they still don't block at all since the siding and the softened fascia of the house is basically rotting away. This is my laundry room. It kind of speaks for itself. Behind me you'll see a window that we replaced when we first moved into the home, but because of the sizing difference and the way windows are made now, we had a really hard time finding a window and haven't been able to finish that up. We've also replaced the outer door here because it also had some problems when we first moved into the house. We have windows in this room because this room, as well as the storage room, were added after the original house was built. These windows happen to be on the outside, what used to be the outside wall of Mackenzie's room. It now keeps her from having any outside walls in her bedroom, which, as I'll explain later, is good and bad. As you can see, there's a step from our storage room into the laundry room. That makes it impossible to get Mackenzie into this room when it's just the 2 of us in order for me to do laundry. So simple tasks such as doing laundry have to wait until I have another body in the house so that they can watch Mackenzie while I take care of it. And the door itself, even if there were no step, is not wide enough to get her wheelchair through. Before we move on to the bedrooms and the bathroom, which are the real accessible problems in this house, I just wanted to mention a few other things that fall through in the living area and the kitchen. For one, a lot of the electrical is wired in a very strange way so that if we trip a breaker in the kitchen, it affects part of the living room as well as part of one of the bedrooms. The heating vents in this house are set up to where a lot of them are not connected underneath in the crawl space. So when we do use the heater in the winter time, a lot of it blows under the house instead of into the rooms where we really need to have the heat. In the living room, we do have the air conditioner, which is the only source of cooling in the house, with the exception of a small window fan in one of the bedrooms. The first of the bedrooms that we'll go see is Mackenzie. In order to get her in there from the living room, we have to come through our hallway, which as you can see isn't very big. We tend to hit a lot on the wall. This is Mackenzie's room. As you can tell, it really doesn't fit the size of her wheelchair or some of the special adaptive equipment that she needs. Behind us are the windows that lead into the laundry room. Probably the best thing about her room is that it doesn't have an outside wall, which in the winter time makes it great because we're able to keep this room fairly warm from the air that blows out of her concentrator because she's on oxygen at night. Unfortunately, the same feature keeps this room from being ventilated during the summer, and so it's much easier to have her sleep in the living room with the air conditioner. Due to Mackenzie's spinal deformities, she's unable to sleep in her bed, and so she sleeps in her chair. In the wintertime, when she does sleep in this room, Courtney, her 16-year-old sister, sleeps in the bed so that we have someone in the room with her at all times. We pull the door closed slightly so I can hear her from my room, but this way they both stay warm as the rest of the house is very chilled. Mackenzie has a lot of adaptive equipment, and unfortunately we're not able to store it all in this room. That's why we store a lot of it in the storage room that you saw earlier. This is our bathroom, and next to Mackenzie's bedroom, this is our biggest challenge. As you can see, it's not very wide, and we have a really hard time getting her wheelchair in here if we need to bring her in case, once again, it's just she and somebody else and that person needs to be getting ready for something or possibly cleaning in here. Behind me is the bath chair that we use to bathe Mackenzie on. We put her on it and she's almost longer than the tub by the time we get everything situated inside. In order to get Mackenzie in the bath, we have to undress her in either her room or the living room. Then it takes two of us to carry her to place her on the bath chair, get her bathed, then carry her back into the room that she will be dressed in. Up until a couple of weeks ago, we had some bath aides who were able to come in and help with this particular situation. However, due to Mackenzie's size, we found out that they could no longer lift the weight that she has. She exceeds their weight limit. And so Shiloh and Courtney and I have been doing her bathing since then, which means that one other person besides myself needs to be home to do that. In a couple of years, both my girls will be gone, and it will be just Mackenzie and I. And I feel it's very important that she have the dignity of showering like the rest of us do. Maybe not every day, but at least 6 days a week. She's almost 90 pounds, and it's hard for the girls and I to lift her, and once they're gone, that leaves me, because obviously I can't hire help to come because of her weight, and this room is not big enough for the Hoyer lift that we do have to bring her in and set her down. She's only going to get bigger, and I'm going to get older, and that combination isn't going to work very well to be able to give her the dignity of having the hygiene care that the rest of us take for granted.
This is our room. Courtney and I share it. We don't usually sleep in here because the ventilation system isn't very good. The windows are painted shut, so we can't open them. So in the summer it gets really hot in here because the air conditioner doesn't reach in here. But there's gaps in the window, so in the winter it lets a nice draft in, so we can't really sleep in here then either. We mainly use the room for dressing and for storing our stuff, and it's pretty small for both of us. Our closet doesn't really fit all of our things, and I store my art stuff in there, and we have a bunch of boxes in there of things that we don't know where else to put. And so yeah, it looks kind of big, but it's actually pretty small.
I'd like to introduce you to Mackenzie. She's the member of our family that will really benefit from your help. On April 10th, 2001, Mackenzie left for school like any other little girl. She hopped on the bus, behaving just as normal as any other child in the first grade. Later on that day, during her PE class, she collapsed. She went into cardiac arrest, and it took emergency workers 25 minutes to be able to get her heart to beat on its own. After spending just a few short hours in Grand Junction at the hospital, we spent the next 3 months in Denver learning about Mackenzie's new condition and how to bring her home. In a matter of just those few 25 minutes, we went from a lively, active little 6-year-old to a child who requires care for everything that is happening in her life. She can no longer dress herself. She can no longer feed herself. She has a hard time even just moving her arms or her legs in order to get them in a different position so that she's not stuck in the same position. We spend a lot of time on the road between Grand Junction and Denver for different surgeries that she has to have. It took us 4 years and a second heart attack before we finally found out the original cause for her first arrest. Mackenzie has a condition with her heart that is caused by adrenaline in her system. When she gets overloaded with adrenaline, her heart goes into multi-pattern arrhythmias, and the ventricular part tends to beat extremely fast. She has a pacemaker which helps to control that, as well as different medications that she's on. So on a lighter side of our life, she's able to ski and play basketball. Not basketball. She's able to ski and play baseball. She also bowls and is very active in our life. Unfortunately, all those activities take other people, such as our family and adaptive coaches, to help her to be able to participate.
Thank you, ABC, for this opportunity. We hope to see you soon.
My name is Michael Ruspel, and I'm an adapted physical education teacher for School District 51 in Grand Junction, Colorado. Part of my job is Special Olympics, coordinating a program for about 300 kids. We do a lot of things here in this district, and it's a fabulous place to work and live. About 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to meet a student. Her name was Mackenzie White. Mackenzie didn't start out as a special needs student, but she came to me as a special needs student. She left her parents on that morning, went to school. 6 hours later, her parents were called, and her life had changed. A normal, regular, exciting little girl became a special needs student on that day. Mackenzie's severely involved. She's in a wheelchair. Many would question whether or not there is a spirit there and a person there. But I've grown to love that spirit that I see in this girl and in this family. She doesn't communicate by voice, but she communicates with her eyes and a smile and laughter, and she's mischievous, and she's definitely changed my life. Her family could have just folded up on that day and given up, but it's a truly courageous family. Mary and Shiloh and Courtney and her grandparents. They chose to take this challenge and instead make it a great gift to our community. They've done fundraising for my Special Olympics program, selling pies, making crafts, creating clothing for students, ponchos to go over the wheelchair kids when they go swimming. And it's all been out of the generosity of their heart and incredible faith. They amaze me, constantly amaze me in their ability to give of themselves. They're truly a great family. She's a beautiful girl and very deserving of so many things. They face many challenges medically with Mackenzie. They face them financially. Mary works as a classroom aide in one of my classes. Her two daughters have been partners in my PE programs. And Mackenzie has bowled with me, swam with me, and even skied with me through the help of her family. Her family's taken her out to the bowling alley. They continue to participate together using motorized switches and things like that this family's helped us to get. Never asking for themselves, always looking to help the rest of us. That day changed their life. That day changed my life. And you have an opportunity to change this family's life. The home that they live in is not one that's suited to having an individual with a disability in. And if you can help us help them, you can make a huge difference in this family's life. Please come to Grand Junction and help Mary and Mackenzie and Shiloh and Courtney.